Welcome back to Ed's Garage. It's been a while since we've had a video. It just means things haven't broke down, but my brother fixed that. This is my brother's 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix GT, and as I was heading out of town on business Thursday, he gave me a call. He was overheating, big puddle of coolant over by the right side tire. So Saturday morning, we think we have a water pump to replace, and let's get a look at it. Hang on, I'll bring you in. So as I mentioned, we're pretty confident that we've got a water pump to replace. This is a 3800, this is a GT, so it's supercharged. It's a Gen 3 engine. I did come over and look at it for just a few moments yesterday and saw enough that it confirms for me that the water pump is probably what went, but as you can see, things are a bit tight in here and we don't have the best view. So we're going to start by getting the battery out, the fender support, the overflow bottle. We'll loosen up the power center, and then I'll bring you back in and show you what I saw yesterday. Before we pull the battery, I brought my jump pack, and I don't know where it went, but we'll find it, a little cable adapter to connect that to the OBD port so we keep power to the PCM at all times, radio stations, etc. So we'll get that plugged in and start tearing things apart, and then we'll pull you back in over here. Hang on. Okay, so we've got a few things out of the way here, and I can bring you in and show you why we think the water pump went. So if we go and zoom in here, you can see that that serpentine belt isn't riding on top of the water pump the way that the water pump pulley the way that it should be, and got jammed behind it. So I'm sure that this is going to be loose. Let's see. I don't feel looseness right now, but things are still jammed in there with that belt. So what we're going to do is, I think those are 10 or maybe 8mm sockets on the water pump pulley. We're going to break those loose before we pull the bolt off, and that'll give us a better look. Hang on. Okay, so we got all the belts off, and I think this might be a problem. There's nothing holding this water pump now, but I can't turn it. I think those are supposed to spin a little bit freely, so we might have a locked up bearing problem. Okay, I had forgotten how much fun these water pumps became compared to the first ones. So we're down to one bolt left, which is right here. It's a 13mm, but you can see that there's no clearance. It won't come out past the power steering pump. So the power steering pump has to be unmounted. And what you do is you line up these holes, and you can see I just took a bolt out of there. And now we have one more bolt to go over here, and then the power steering pump will go out of the way, and we can get that last bolt. So you can see where I have the ratchet there. The bolts for the power steering pump are in the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock position. Okay, so we lost the water pump's out, but we lost over an hour because of this idler pulley. This idler pulley would block this bolt from coming out. So the only way this bolt comes out is if this idler pulley is removed, and it goes right down here, and you can see, hopefully you can see a bunch of corrosion on there that it just did not want to come off. So it took us forever to get that. And then the other bolt, this one over here, that's the one where you have to go and loosen up the power steering pump to let that get out of the way so you can get that bolt out. So clearly we have the problem here is I'm trying to turn this. I can't turn that water pump at all. So For whatever reason, it locked up, and I'm sure the bearings went and then they jammed in a certain position. So at this point, we'll clean up a gasket and start putting some thread sealant on the long bolts and get this put back together. Okay, since we're going through all this, we're changing the thermostat too. So two 10mm bolts, one's a bolt, one's a stud, and then thermostat comes out. I had it out before, but just thought I'd go and show. And then you can see there's a bunch of rust in here, so I'm going to use my scraper and just get as much of that out as I can before we put the new one in. We'll be back. Okay, so sorry that we're not getting any video while we're wrenching, but we got the water pump on. So these 4 small bolts go to 16 foot-pounds, or using a 1/4 inch torque, that's 192 inch-pounds. And then the longer bolts go to 25 foot-pounds, and I put thread sealant on each of those since they go back. So now what we have to do is get the power steering pulley, the whole pump, back into position using the hole that's down here to get the bolts lined up and bolted back up. Then we put the water pump pulley and this idler pulley back on, and we button things up from there. Just to show you how you use that hole in the pulley for the power steering pump, this is the top bolt that's at the 12 o'clock position, and I've got it just about fully hand tightened. So at this point, I'll just put the wrench on the one on the bottom. I leave the bolt in the opening on the one on the bottom, and this time I got really lucky that it was really easy to, that hole slid in, and once you got that one, you can see this top one. So normally I've had to fight these quite some time, but today this part was good. It was the idler pulley over there, getting that off with corrosion, that was bad. Okay, so somebody nameless down there is closing the radiator valve. I'd say it's strained enough. We have everything up top put back together. Putting this battery back in is sure is fun. So we've got that held down. Both of the belts are on, routed properly. That's in the owner's manual if you need to go look that up. Power distribution blocks back. Overflow tank. So we're about to put some water and some flush in it and start it up and see how things go. Okay, so we just filled the radiator and the overflow tank with water. We're going to start it, and hopefully we won't throw belts or hear squealing, and we'll be able to put in some flush. So go ahead and turn it over, Joe. This is where we cross the fingers. No slip belts, no squealing, we just have water leaking, I'm sure, from the garden hose. Alright, so I think we're going to wrap it up here on this one. Still to go, we're going to let it run for a while, come up to temperature. We're going to put some flush in it, run it 20-30 miles with the flush, free things out, get that out, then we've got a back flush tee, we'll do that, and then put in all new good stuff. But the problem was overheating, frozen water pump. We've got that corrected, everything's working okay, so now we're just doing basic maintenance. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful for you. It's my 3rd time doing a water pump on this one, and it sure threw me for a curve with that idler pulley sticking, so that was fun. But if you have the supercharger, you've got that idler pulley you have to pull off. If it's a straight 3800, you just have to remove the power steering pump bolts. So other than that, we're good. Hopefully this was good for you. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll get back to you. Thanks. Bye.